make chocolate chip cookies, but you don't have the time, or maybe you don't want to spend ages in the kitchen? Well, today I'm going to show you how to make the most amazing, soft, thin, and chewy chocolate chip cookies in just 10 minutes. They take 5 minutes to make and 5 minutes to bake. So let's get going. So this recipe is super easy. You don't even need an electric whisk. We're just using a hand whisk for this. Start with a large bowl, and you're going to be adding in some melted unsalted butter, some light brown sugar, and some granulated sugar as well. So in goes the melted butter. Using melted butter gives the cookies a slightly chewier texture with those nice crisp edges. You also want to let the butter cool slightly before adding the sugars so we don't completely melt the sugar. In goes the light brown sugar and the granulated sugar. And we're just going to whisk these until everything's nice and combined. Getting a bit of a workout as well. There we go. So that has formed a nice paste now. So I'm going to add 1 large egg at room temperature. I know everyone says not to crack your eggs on the edge of the bowl, but I just find it so much easier. For some reason, I end up getting less shell in the bowl if I do it this way than if I crack it on the surface. But technically, you should crack it on the surface. And then in with the vanilla extract. I'm using the fancy vanilla today, although I keep getting the lid stuck on it. Ah, there you go. So about a teaspoon of that, or 2 teaspoons. And then whisk these in until combined. Beautiful. So that should be nice and smooth and runny now, and there should be no lumps left. Next, we're going to be adding in our dry ingredients. So I've got plain or all-purpose flour here, bicarbonate of soda or baking soda if you're from the US, and one of my favorite ingredients, salt. Salt is such a must in cookies for me. It just makes them taste so much better. In goes the plain flour, bicarbonate of soda, half a teaspoon of this, and half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon of salt, depending on how salty you like your cookies. I do like my cookies salty, so I'm gonna be adding in a whole teaspoon. Now we've ditched the hand whisk, and I'm swapping to a rubber spatula to fold these in. So we're just gonna fold in the dry ingredients until they're just combined. You don't wanna over mix, otherwise your chewies can, your cookies can become tougher. Perfect. So that is exactly what your dough should look like. It shouldn't be runny, but it also shouldn't be super thick either. Not like NYC cookies. Now we're gonna add in our chocolate chips. So I'm using dark chocolate chips here. They're about 50% cocoa. These are my favorite ones to use in these cookies, but you could also use milk chocolate, or you could use white chocolate, or you could add in something like chopped hazelnuts, chopped pistachios, chopped peanuts, sprinkles, anything you fancy. In those go. Oh, have some leftovers, some stragglers. And then just fold these in until they're evenly distributed. Okay, perfect. So this is exactly what our cookie dough should look like. Now, optionally, you can chill it in the fridge for about 30 minutes or longer if you wanted to. Obviously, this wouldn't make our cookies 10 minutes, so I'm actually not gonna do that today. But it does make your cookies hold their shape a bit more, and it helps the flavors come together as well. But it's not 100% necessary. So to keep these quick today, I'm gonna roll them into balls now. So these cookies are quite small cookies, hence why they only take 5 minutes to bake. But you could make regular sized cookies as well. They would just need a few minutes longer in the oven. So I'm gonna roll these into about 15-gram balls. So let's see how close I am. That's 11. Ooh, 7, 6, 15, there you go. So let's roll that into a little ball, and it should be about that size. So they're little tiny cookies. And I'm just gonna continue to do this with the rest of the dough, or until I've filled up my cookie sheet here. I'm placing these a couple of inches apart because they are gonna spread quite a bit, and you don't wanna end up with just one sheet of cookie. I will get better at guessing these as we go on. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the most time-consuming part of the recipe. You get quicker at it, I promise. So I managed to get 20 cookies onto my tray, and there's about half of the dough left. So this does make around 40 cookies. It's quite a lot of cookies, but you can always freeze the dough and use it for another time if you want, or you can refrigerate it overnight and you can cook them tomorrow, or you can cook them in batches. It's totally up to you. So these are gonna go in the oven now at 180 degrees, 160 degrees if you have a fan oven. I will put Fahrenheit on screen as usual, for about 5 minutes. They will look slightly underdone when they come out. They should be nice and puffy, and then they will set as they cool, so don't overbake them. They might need a couple minutes longer, but they won't need any longer than about 7 minutes. Okay, let's bake them. Okay, my cookies have just come out of the oven, so as you can see, they still look puffy and underdone. So they're gonna crinkle and flatten when they cool, so I'm not gonna touch them yet, but I am gonna push them into circles. So just grab a cookie cutter, or you could grab a small glass or something, and you're just gonna go over the top of them, and you're just gonna go around them like that, and then you'll form perfect circles with them. This is totally optional, by the way. It just makes them look a bit more uniform. They all look pretty good, so I'm just gonna let them cool down a bit for about 15 to 20 minutes on the tray, then we'll come back and we'll do a taste test. As you guys can see, the cookies are no longer puffy, they're flattened and they've crinkled now, so I think it's time for the taste test. I'm gonna go for this one. They are so good. They taste so incredible. They have those crisp edges and the middle is soft. The chocolate chips are still melted slightly. Oh my gosh, they're just incredible. And in 10 minutes, I can't think of anything better I can make in 10 minutes, I'm not gonna lie. You have to make these, I promise you. They're really good. So guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you try the cookies, and let me know if you do any kind of variation with them, like with different chocolate chips or anything like that. Let me know in the comments section below what recipe you'd like me to make next, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.